I'm Antonio. Nice to meet everyone. As Ray said, I am based in the UK. I am the CEO and co-founder of Forward. Forward is based in we have office in the UK and we have office in Cebu in the Philippines, which Kevin runs. And we are a global recruiting organization. We support organizations not just with the whole recruitment piece, but a lot around strategy and how organizations can go to market, find candidates and hire in more efficient ways and hire in ways that we want them today to hire as candidates today. So all around creative, brand, marketing, and all those fun pieces. I am a talent acquisition data enthusiast. For those of you who don't know what talent acquisition is, it's basically recruitment. I love recruitment. I love understanding the flow of recruitment and how to make interviews better, how to make candidate experiences better, and all of that fun stuff. I am a candidate experience snob, so you know, well, in general, I'm an experience snob. I like to have a good customer service, and I like to give a good customer service as well. So, you know, I'm the same if I go out to eat. Even if the restaurant is amazing food, but I have poor service, I'm not returning to that restaurant. But if it has poor food but great service, I will return to that restaurant. It's a weird thing. But yes, I'm a candidate experience snob. I'm also a recruitment technology tinkerer. And what I mean by that, I'm an inventor. So I've invented a software which is a recruitment CRM and helps organizations hire across the globe. And of course, I'm a father of 3 here. So on the left-hand side, you have Leonardo, who is my eldest. And then you have Alaska there, who is 3 years old. And then a newborn, Santino, who is in my arms. He's now 9 weeks old, bless him. So that's me. Welcome, guys. Really excited to be talking with you all today and sharing insights. I'm just going to hand over to our man, Kevin, here. And Kevin will talk through himself.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Sheena, can you take over clicking buttons and letting people in?
Sure, Kev.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all joining us today. My name's Kevin. I am the COO and co-founder of Forward as well. My passion inside recruitment is understanding the psychology of hiring and how we attract talent, how we then retain talent, and then how we grow and develop talent. And that's where I really push my passions through the recruitment industry. I absolutely love dogs. I'm a keen dog supporter. I support the local dog pounds, etc. But at weekends, I like to go out and find abandoned animals and deliver them to the animal shelters. Champion of remote working. I went fully remote 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, before the pandemic. And I've literally written the Bible on how to manage teams remotely all over the world. And we've got people in many different countries and time zones, what technology to use and how to implement management policies to give everyone a great working experience, a great job experience, and feel a part of the team, even though we're not together. I live in the Philippines, Cebu, in an island called Malapascua, and I too am now a father of 3. I have 2 children in the UK and 1 on its way. So that's 8 weeks out. Thank you very much. I'll hand back to Antonio.
Thanks, Kevin. So today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for video interviews. Now, video interviews are here to stay. We're in the world of, you know, online, and, you know, particularly what I'm very interested in is how the world is shifting now. You know, I'm in the UK here, guys. I'm in London, or just outside London, but I'm communicating with people all across the globe right now, which is absolutely phenomenal, right? If you'd have said to someone 100 years ago, in 100 years, if someone walked up to you and said, in 100 years, you're going to be able to instantly communicate with people in different countries and see their faces, you would have thought they were mental. You would have thought that you'd be sending them to the hospital, right? Because today we're in the most fortunate position, and particularly for you freelancers and workers in different countries, you have the opportunity to work for companies across the globe, because companies are now not just focused on hiring in the location that they are. So for instance, us in London, we're not just focused on hiring recruiters or graphic designers or developers in London. We don't mind where people are today. We hire across the globe. As Kevin said, we have people in India, we have people in the Philippines, we have people in the US, we have people in Italy, UK, you name it, across the globe. We truly are a global company, and our business operation happens smooth and fluid. And that is because of video. It is because of technology. It's because partly to do with the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic was is and was a terrible, terrible thing. But it has moved the world to change, and particularly the professional community, to change their perception of what our workforce looks like, and do we need to hire in the location that we are at the moment? Can we hire across the globe and utilize workers across the globe? And that also means for you guys, the opportunities now are absolute endless. So today we're talking about how you prepare for video interviews, because you're going to be doing a lot of them. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done a lot of them already, right? And so we're going to be talking about a couple of things, and that's because remote working is huge. Here's some steps here's some statistics of remote working. So 16% of companies in the world are 100% remote. So that's 16%, which is phenomenal. 44% of companies still don't allow remote working, which is interesting. And I think this is more for those roles that require people into the space. Better work-life balance is the main reason why people choose to work remotely. 77% of remote workers say they're more productive when working from home. The average annual income of remote workers is also $4,000 higher than that of other workers. 85% of managers believe that having teams with remote workers will become the new norm. So you can see that this is the perception of people going forward. 74% of workers say that having the option to work remotely would make them less likely to leave a company. And the three biggest challenges associated with remote working at the moment is unplugging after work, loneliness, and communication and collaboration. So we're going to discuss a couple of these today, but mainly we're going to be talking about the video interview. And as you can see from these statistics, remote working is now a huge, huge thing. And so the main conduit and the main mechanism for you securing a next role will be a video interview. And it's important that we get it right. Kevin, anything to add to the introduction to video interviewing?
No, we will send out a poll in a moment via Google Meet that will offer you options of what you most worry about when up and coming video is expected. So please answer the poll. And what we'll do at the end of the session is we'll particularly focus around those concerns that you have and offer some specific guidance around those top worries. So Sheena will press send. You'll get a little ping in the corner of your screen or on your phone. And if you just select an option, we'll choose the top one, the top worry, and we'll discuss that as well. Thank you. Boom.
So video interviewing. As we said, video interviewing is a huge piece and a huge step for anyone who's looking to secure a role today, not just because of the pandemic, but also because of the way companies are moving. And if you get your video interviewing right, then there's a strong opportunity for you to secure the roles that you are hiring for, or the roles that you are applying for. So we're going to give you guys some top tips today for video interviewing. super important that we think about these things in a very rational sense. And I know that people may think, well, I'm just jumping onto a video. Why do I need to, think about how all these things? I've got these skills. The company is lucky to have me. Yes, they are lucky to have you. They will be lucky to have you. But at the same time, the market is competitive, and first impressions count, right? So if we are, thinking about this in a very professional sense, in a very formal sense, then this is going to be an opportunity for you to make sure that you nail that interview. Okay, let's jump into it. So number one, choose a suitable location. There's nothing worse than, I've done hundreds of interviews in my life. There's nothing worse than, background noise, or obviously we're remote working, so you do understand if kids are running in and out of a place. One of my kids just ran in just now, so I just moved the laptop slightly. So we know that is a thing, and people are a bit more, I guess, understanding of that. But make sure you choose a suitable location that not only minimizes background noise such as cars or motorbikes or anything like that, or any noise that's happening outdoors. Choose a suitable location that minimizes that, and also gives you a good light as well, and gives you the opportunity to be at the center of your video interview. You don't want any distractions happening in the background. If you're trying to explain to someone, who you are, you're answering questions, and there's all this hubbub going on behind you, then that's a distraction and will remove the focus from being on you to being on the background. So make sure you choose a suitable location. Number two, this again, speaking about minimizing interruptions. I kind of feel like, obviously my kids, they're crazy and they just don't listen anyway. I'm sure everyone's kids are the same. But let's say, for instance, you are in a house full of lots of family members, or or you're in a place full of lots of friends, or whatever. The best thing to do would be tell the people before, look, I am going on to a video interview, so don't interrupt me, please. Or like they used to do back in, or they do back on TV sets. Maybe write down on a piece of paper, don't come in, or quiet on the set, that type of thing. But minimizing interruptions as much as possible is going to make sure, again, as I said, you will be able to be the center and the focal point of your interview. This one is a very, very important one. Now, I know we're at home, and I know that we often want to just be relaxed in our chilled clothing, but make sure you dress professionally. It's super important for the video, the person who is interviewing you. You want to, and I'm not talking you have to be suit and tie or whatever, but be presentable. Have your hair done. Shave if you shave. Trim your beard if you have a beard. Make sure that you are looking presentable on that video interview. Purely because this is and I'll just take it from my point of view, okay? Now, I know that we're at home and all that sort of stuff, but if people turn up to a video interview and their hair's not done, or they're not presentable, I feel like that they don't really care about the role, number one. Number two, I also feel like, well, if they're not putting this attention to detail to how they present themselves on a call, then how much attention to detail are they going to put into the role that we're hiring for? So this is it's a very odd one, but dressing professionally is super, super important. By the way, guys, if you have any questions or anything, drop them in the box, type them into the box, and at the end we will answer these questions, okay? So yeah, dressing professionally is super important and gives you the ability to present yourself in the best light possible, and also it sets the standards for how you should, for how the person who's interviewing you sees you and your attention to detail. my final point before I hand over to Kevin, prepare for the unexpected. You know, obviously unexpected is unexpected, but prepare as much as possible. My dad says this quote. He says, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And what he means by that is that, you know, if we don't put preparation onto our video interviews and we don't think about all the things that could go wrong, battery dying, your cat comes in and spills tea over your laptop, or you know, the kids come running in and out of the video interview, you know, preparing for this stuff makes sure that you can have the best interview possible and make sure that you are the focal point, as I said, and you can nail that role. So I'm going to hand over to Kevin for the next point. But thank you again. If anyone has any questions, drop them in the box and we'll answer them at the end.
Thank you. Hi guys. Thank you very much, Antonio. So I've got 4 points that I wish to discuss. And the first one that we've come up with here that is really important. Human communication is different person to person. So we're now faced with this challenge where we're person to person, but we're not. And we've got to be very careful of our body language and the way that we act. And it's very, very easy to sit back in your chair. Okay, I'll just sit back there. Okay, and look very, very relaxed because you're at home and you're not in the room with someone. So always kind of put yourself into the center of the screen. It's easy to look at other people while you're talking. If someone's on your screen and you look at them, okay, like I am, the person that's looking at you that thinks you're looking away or looking down. So normal laptops have got a little light at the top. Just look about 2 inches above that light, and it will look like you're talking to the actual person rather than talking to their face, which isn't actually there. So it's kind of a weird thing to do. Don't worry about using expressions with your hands and leaning forward to talk and using general gestures to express yourself. That's absolutely acceptable. But let's talk about the negative stuff, okay? Don't look away, okay, and turn around. Make sure your camera is centered and you're not off to one side like this. I see this loads. If you're not using a laptop and you're using a webcam, make sure it is in that center piece. Try and look people in the eye and not look away. And whatever you do, do not type away on your laptop while you're chatting to someone. And if you do feel that you need to write a note or something, just make the other person aware, I'm going to be making notes during this discussion, okay? And take those notes at appropriate times, okay? Don't just sit there all the time dialing. So thank you. That's for body language. Thank you very much. Review tech setup. So important, right? Before I come on to this call, for an hour before, I did a test with Sheena. I made sure the speed was right on my laptop. If you are under 10 megabits per second speed, you're going to struggle with a proper internet. You need 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, you're going to really struggle with video interviewing. And if you're working off data, okay, you can get those speeds. But if you can work off Wi-Fi, great. Okay, your camera needs to be clean, okay, and not smudged up so people can actually see you as well. The other thing to test around tech is the microphone working? If you're going to use a headset, is it actually working? Do you sound underwater? Is the position correct, etc.? So tech setup, although it's kind of just like, oh yeah, I'll just log on to a video meeting, do prepare for these video interviews 10, 15 minutes before, half an hour if you can, and just jump on the call or on a different link with someone else, family member, etc., or someone from here, and test those technology pieces out. The worst thing during video interviews, again, done thousands, is when someone's playing around because their headset doesn't work, their webcam's not working. Webcams, really good point. Let's talk about that. People want to see you on video interviews. Okay? If you're going to come along to a video interview and your camera's not working, that's not going to go well for you. People really want to see you. It's why we've got eyes. Okay, we want to talk and communicate with you. So yeah, half an hour before, check all your tech. Next. Oh, great, a practice call. Now, this is overlooked by 80% of people who do a video interview. And I always say to people at the end, did you prep for that? Did you get on a video call with someone? They don't. Before I come on to here again, I was quite nervous, right? So I was like, well, a lot of people to talk to. Okay, so I got on a call with Sheena and I had 20 minutes just to bring myself down and calm down and have a decent discussion. The practice call can check your tech setup as well. Also, get people to ask you questions on that practice call. So it's not just check your tech, it's check that you're calm enough and collective enough to answer difficult questions. Interviews, guys, is an assessment of your ability to do a job and the assessment of your culture and attitude to fit in with the company. And they're tough. The questions are there to not catch you out, but to assess you. And if you have not prepared, like Antonio said, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Okay, you're going to have a greater chance if you do this practice call. Next. Thank you. Great. So now we're going to lead in, and we really want to start opening this up to more of a discussion around video interviewing. We've given you some really useful tips there, and we're going to send out this document with notes, and we're going to send the recording out to everyone as well. But now I want to start asking and answering questions with everyone. So Ray, could you open up with asking some questions about video interviewing, get people warmed up?
Yeah, hi. Let me see. One common one common thing that I would notice or I would see and read among the group is for a video interview. Is a question: do we really need to go on a video interview?
Okay, I'll take that one. What do you want to, Antonio?
I didn't quite get the question. What was the question, Kevin?
Do I really have to do a video interview?
Do I really have to do a video interview?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, do you really want the job? That's the sort of answer I would give to that. At the end of the day, obviously it's difficult and sometimes it's awkward. But coming out of your comfort zone is where you're going to push and you're going to develop and excel. So the question is, do you really want that job? And if so, then yeah, you're going to have to go on that video interview because that's the format of which the person has set, right? So 100%, I think it's down to you. If you want the job, then do the video interview and just practice, because practice does make perfect. I have another question here. Thanks, Carms. Thanks, Janet, for agreeing there. Carms, I have a question from Charles Noel Sakabin. Kevin, is there so much qualifications in this certain job, or do we need educational attainment or experience? Do we think we need educational attainment or experience in video interviews, Kevin? I hope that's what your question was, Charles. We're going to see if we can answer that there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So this is really interesting, and I'll talk about software developers, right? Because the software developing world, and you can relate this to everything. Absolutely, top companies are going to want qualifications. Okay, they want you to have a degree, a computer science degree, etc. And however, there are opportunities out there for all spectrum of roles that actually your experience in doing something is equally as important. And we have hired some very, very talented software developers who hasn't got those degrees, haven't got their certificates, but actually have learned and practiced their talent, their skill set, and are extremely good at what they do. So I think this question actually comes before the application stage. It's looking at the application. Can you do the job? And if you can do the job but you don't have the qualification, you need to make people aware that you have that experience, and that can be done through portfolios. If your resume is wide, or you can even put your resume on a website, etc., and show your creativity. I hope that answers your question, Charles, and I've got that in the right direction. If it doesn't, please ask me again in a different way.
Thank you, Kevin. And we have some raised hands as well. So Nina Yabanez, sorry, I'm pronouncing your name probably wrong. Sorry, Nina. But Nina, do you want to ask your question?
Nia?
Okay, cool. Nina, we'll come back to you if you want to answer your question. Pretty, we have you. You've raised your hand also.
Hi, Kevin and Antonio. Thank you for the time. What I said is I'm inviting my son to join us today because he would like to get a direction on what are the best things now, or what is the fad in terms of jobs. So if I may ask, with the since you guys are a recruiting firm, what do you suggest for the newly graduate senior high to pursue learning? Is it with IT, or just a tip from you guys of what is really in demand right now? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Pretty. That's a fantastic question. So, you know, the great thing about what's happening in the labour market today is that regions such as the Philippines are becoming way more in demand. So a lot of work is moving from the UK or sort of Western Europe, US, and moving to regions such as the Philippines and Asia as a whole, actually. So there's a lot of opportunity coming your way, guys. But what I would say, really, from a skill set point of view, first of all, if you number one, if you want to pursue a career in an environment that's ever changing and that's constantly developed, constantly moving, and constantly having advancements, then yeah, absolutely, technology is the place to start. And if you want to, and that can span in many different things, right? You could be working in the digital sphere and you can work as a developer, or you can work as a product manager. And a product manager is someone who, creates the ideas of the product and tells people about steers developers on how to build the product for the people, and works with the people who'll be using the product to make sure that they are getting the right technology that they need. You could be a designer, someone who's just designing pretty things, right? You could be a copywriter, someone who's writing copy for websites and products and social media posts and all that sort of stuff. So the digital sphere is absolutely huge. I think it's just down to what your passion is. But 100%, if you want to go into that move, then, if you want to go into an advancing career that's constantly changing, then I would go into the digital space. But that being said, you have a lot of opportunity within business services too, such as the recruitment space, such as, customer service. There's so much opportunity coming to regions such as the Philippines at the moment. And it's really is down to what your passion is and what you want to go down. But happy to take any other questions around that also. Thanks, Pretty. Right, I've got some more questions. Cool. So more questions here. Ala Rosa, what are the best phrases or words to substitute when you get mental block during the video interview, Kevin?
One of my favorite ones. So it's kind of the big one, right? The little trick here is there isn't really a substitute word. I mean, we can't go cheese just because, or eggs or anything like that. Pause okay, and don't just take a step back, okay. Anyone who's doing an interview with someone knows that actually it's a stressful situation, okay. So you're not going to get in a situation where you can start substituting words. That's going to put you under even more stress. You have to just pause and repeat the question in your own head again, okay? And you can set this up with the interviewee and say, that's a really good question. Let me just think about that for a moment. Repeat the question in your head, collect your thoughts calmly, and then just talk naturally, okay? Ums and ers and all that, they're a normal part of human language. Don't be too worried about them at all.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I and all the time because my brain is moves faster than my mouth does, right? So I'm just trying to capture my my thoughts as well as what I'm trying to say. So I don't really mind, to be honest, with the ers and the ums, and no one really does mind that around that. So I think there's someone here who asked a question around stuttering and whatnot. Look, if you stutter, you stutter. You know, that will not take away the value you can bring. But the best things that you can do is practice the questions that you would be asked. We know that in an interview, people are going to be asking, so tell us about your experience. So practice telling, look yourself in the mirror, practice telling people about your experience. If we know that people are going to ask about our portfolio, if we're designers or if we're in a digital space, so practice selling your portfolio, right? And that's really, I think, the best way to overcome that. But the more you do these interviews, the more you talk as well, the more I guess concise and clear you'll be. Right, I have another question here. Is how can a newbie in freelancing edge over those who have experience? Because most companies are looking for experienced ones. This is from Rhoda, and I'll take this if that's okay, Kev. So Rhoda, absolutely. I think you know, most companies are looking for experience, but a lot of companies are looking for people who are are self-starters, have an ability to. Sorry, just muting someone. Have an ability to, you know, think outside the box. So the way you could get a competitive edge, when I started this business, you know, years and years ago, what I was, you know, I was doing everything basically, right? So I was doing the design, I was doing the development, I was doing the videos, I was doing our social media content. And the reason I was doing that is because I had to do it, okay? So what I would suggest to you is to get a competitive edge and I don't know what you do, but basically build out your experience by doing it for free. Do it for free at first, because go to, you know, your company, your friends' companies and say, look, hey, can I work for you for free for 2 months or whatever? Can I do this for you for 2 months so I can build up my experience in a certain field, and then it could be on my CV. Then you become experienced. Now, obviously, no one wants to work for free, but often you have to think about it. But maybe I should maybe I should push myself out of my comfort zone so that I can get the experience. You know, don't think short term, think long term. This is going to get me the job. Should I want to apply for that experienced position? I hope that answers, Rhoda. I hope that answers
Antonio, Antonio.
Yes.
Could I add something to that
Yes,
regarding experience? Okay. Okay. I guess Antonio and Kevin would agree with me here. When we talk about experience, it's not just simply the number of years. What recruiters or clients or business owners are actually looking into is your skill level from the time that you started and how you have grown. Because I mean, if you started, let's say your skill level when you started is level 1, and you've been there doing it for the last 6-7 years, there should already be some improvement. What you have already produced or contributed to your previous employer or clients. That's basically it. Now, I guess it's also a mindset when we talk about experience. It's always the number of years, but basically it's not. It's how you have grown your skill set, where you are when you were started and where you are now. it's one thing that I would always say. Somebody can have a 10-year experience as opposed to somebody who's just 1-2 years experience. But the skill level of that guy, the 1 or 2 years experience, is already on level 10, while that person already has 10 years experience is still haven't changed, is still on level 1. So definitely the other guy has more advantage than you in terms of skill and experience.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Great contribution, Ray. Thank you. So moving on to another question we have. As talent acquisition, do you expect questions from your interviewees, Kevin? If yes, what are those?
What an awesome question. And the truth is that we expect questions, okay? Interviews aren't, that we're trying to attract talent, and that's why we're interviewing you. We've got to make this attractive for you as well. And we do expect questions. And you can prepare for this, okay, by doing just a little bit of research, but also you are interviewing us too. So you need to gain clarity around things like the company's culture. You want to clarify also what your job is going to be. Have I got this right? And a lot of this can come from just repeating back what's been discussed. So yeah, absolutely. However, don't go too nuts on the questions, okay? Don't redo another interview. I've already interviewed you for 30 minutes. During that interview, I've given you some backs and forwards, and then you spend another 45 minutes asking questions. Keep it to 5 or 6 questions, maybe 8 at most. But yeah, questions are expected, and they're appreciated as well. But they need to be prepared questions as well. They don't just start winging it and coming up with all sorts of weird stuff. Prepare your questions as well, and use that to get clarity on, again, great interview's done great, contract comes out, and it's not what you're expecting. The worst thing as an interviewer is having to go back through that process of getting it all cleared up. So use the opportunity to ask questions about the culture, etc., but also the clarity on the job, and prepare those interviews, those questions as well.
Amazing. Thanks, Kev. Nina, do you still have your question? Because your hand is raised. I don't know if you can hear us. If not, that's fine. If you want to just ask your questions. Okay, cool. Let's move into it. Kev, so what are the instances that you'll be turned off during an interview? I'll give that to you as well, Kevin.
Turned off?
Yeah, so what
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so turned off, and I'm going to give you a really good example of this that happened to me last weekend. I was interviewing someone for a role of a recruiter, and the question is why are you leaving your current position? And his answer was, well, I can't find any candidates to do the job. I can't find any candidates to attract. And that, he had instantly told me he wasn't very good at his job. So that was an immediate kind of like, no, you've got to have a really strong answer to that question about why you're currently looking for it. Is it a vertical lift? Is it a culture thing? Is it a remote working opportunity? Have a really strong answer to that particular question. Because sometimes the worst answer is, yeah, I'm failing, I'm just looking for a new opportunity. So that's a really interesting one. The other one is, if I ask you about the industry and then you try and lie, like you wing the question, okay? If you don't know the answer, just say, do you know what, I don't actually know what you're on about, or I don't know, could you repeat the question, rephrase the question? The other thing that frustrates is going off at a tangent. Okay, I ask you a question, answer the question, and stop. Don't go off into another area of the discussion. Okay, so yeah, keep it short and concise, and don't lie.
Great. And then here's from April. What are your tips if an introvert person applied for a call center voice account, to be specific? So, you know, at the end of the day, the world is made up of people of all different shapes and sizes, April, and introverts are still amazing at their jobs. The only thing that you have to really weigh up in your head is, that initial phase of coming out of your comfort zone as an introvert who's going to be working in a call center. You are going to have, you're going to have nerves and butterflies when you start that role, you're going to start that job, because of course, reaching out to people on the phones, if you're an introvert, can be a challenge. But the more you do something, the more it becomes normal. And that's the really key thing here. You got to look at your comfort zone as a circle, and you're currently in one circle at the moment inside it. Once you come out of that comfort zone to secure this role, for instance, as an introvert, and you're speaking to people daily on the telephones, your comfort zone gets bigger, the circle gets bigger, right? So that's really, really important that you understand that, and understand that you are going to be nervous as an introvert, at applying for this role and securing this role. But it's coming out of your comfort zone, and that will push you to get that role and to be good at it. So hope that helps you, April. Another question here is sudden outages, right? Sometimes happen during interviews. Kevin, we've experienced those. Is it a negative impact on the applicant, even if they ask for another round?
Yes and no. It depends on the job, right? So if you're someone that needs to be constantly online, okay, that is going to have a negative impact regardless, because your technology is delicate. The best way to handle it, though, because it does help, you have a brownout, your Wi-Fi goes down, etc., etc. Have a backup. If you're using a laptop, great, because you can just use the battery and you can use your data on your phone. But prepare people for it as well, okay? I always check my signal strength before I go on, and I'll share my screen and show you how to do that before I go on the interview. If it's low, okay, then I inform people, hey guys, I'm having a bit of an internet issue day, so please bear with me. And it's just speed test, from the speed test, okay, and you can see where you're at with your Wi-Fi speed, okay. If you want to use the other one, this is more accurate, by speedtest.net, that will give you a more accurate result. But if you're on a Google Meet, you do have these three dots here, and you can go to troubleshooting, and this gives you network stability. It tells you how good your connection is, and it gives you some advices as still having a problem, or recommendations. So again, it does matter, but you can handle it better if you prepare the interviewer that you may be facing some issues. They may say to you, okay, well, great, let's rearrange that. But if you just disappear during it, then yeah, it does have a negative impact.
Boom. So we have a question here, which two people have asked. So is it safe to say that you're looking for better compensation when asked, why do you want to leave your current job? 100%. At the end of the day, we're here to, we're not charities, guys. We're working to live and to better our lives and to, always progress. And so in terms of, looking for better compensation, it's the way you phrase things. I think the best way would be, I'm looking to, so I feel like my experience to date has warranted a new level of package and compensation. So I'm looking to gain that in the market, because I have a lot of value to offer and a lot of experience to offer an organization. So it's about how you phrase it. Remember, it's not all about what they want, what you want. It's a two-way street, and how you make that that organization, how you make that organization recognize your value. It's really, really key, because that's all organizations want to do. And I think we've got to get out of our heads interviews as these big, challenging, like it's like a gladiator fight, right? They're not. The organization is interviewing because they want to hire someone. They want to hire someone that can bring value to that role, right? So they are looking for that person. When I go and interview, I'm not looking to challenge the person. I'm looking to obviously find out about their experience, but I'm looking to understand their value they can bring to my organization. If they can bring value, then I'm going to hire the person, right? So really, really important that you recognize that. Let me just quickly jump in here. So how, let me just go here. Sorry, you guys, I'm just looking. What are the possible questions that people can ask in an interview, Kevin? That's from Jalita.
What are the possible questions someone can ask in an interview? So you've got 3 sections here, okay? The first section is all about you, okay? They're going to want to know about you, so very, very standard stuff and easy to answer. And that's usually the first section we open up with is, tell me what you've been up to for the last 6 months, who are you, what you've been doing. The second section is going to be skills specific, okay, around your particular niche, okay, and only you know what they're going to ask you because you're applying for that particular job, but it is going to be checking your skills and experience and quality. And to answer them, you need to be very confident in answering those questions. The first bit is ice breaking, getting to know you, getting to know a bit about the companies. Second bit is skill check. The third section is culture fit and are you going to be able to handle the pressures of the job? So questions that I can give you here is things like, how do you handle stressful situations? And they may put you in circumstances, and always relate back to those questions to a story you've had. Well, a couple of years ago, I was in this position and this happened and we were on this project and someone did this and we had to go and do that. So do provide questions that relate back to previous experience on those final culture pieces. But the skill set specific ones, I'm going to have to throw back at you. You know what they're going to be asking you about the job you're going to be doing. But those top 2, you can prepare well for.
Boom, 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 boom. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, cool. We're going to have one final question because obviously we're just conscious of everyone's time. We could be talking about this all day, but hopefully we will be doing another webinar with the guys at UpWork Filipinas. So, you know, we'll hopefully do another one and be able to answer any questions there. Final question we have is from Charles. How can you handle work under pressure when starting as a newbie or freelancing? Yeah, so, you know, again, work is pressured. Yeah, the thing is, we have to work. We're getting paid for a service or whatever. And at the end of the day, you know, sometimes you're going to be as a freelancer, you can have lots of different projects going on. So you have to deliver on time for these clients. You have to make sure the work is quality as well. And, you know, obviously you have to make sure that, you know, your well-being is great as well. So first of all, it's accepting that you have the pressure. That's really important. I think a lot of people run away, they moan about the pressure, they complain about the pressure. At the end of the day, that pressure is part of your role because that's why you're getting paid to do these bits, right? So you need to understand that at the end of the day, it is pressure, accept the pressure. But that being said, don't bite off more than you can chew, okay? As a freelancer, you will be tempted to take on all the work. You know, you'll be going through peaks and troughs. There'll be times when you're getting no work, then there'll be times when you're getting too much and you can't facilitate it, right? And so, you know, it's really important that you balance and you understand what your capabilities are and really what can you take on, because you don't want to take on too much and let clients down and then become known as someone who doesn't deliver on a project, right? So really important you understand yourself, how far you can go, what your capacity is. And once you know that, you can then quickly, you know, you can line up jobs for future and you can make sure that you're delivering all of those jobs that you have currently on at quality. And then the other piece would be making sure that you set time for yourself to have downtime. Okay. I know it seems like if you're pressured and you have a really urgent deadline, you want to work right through, but actually that's going to be more, that's going to have more of a negative impact on your ability to deliver. So I would suggest that you make sure you put time in your diaries to go for a walk, spend time with family, you know, have dinner with family or go out with friends, you know, read a book, whatever it may be, whatever your version of, well-being and downtime is. So hopefully that answers your question, Charles.
Right. I'll just add something to that as well. Is yeah, work is very stressful, right? But as freelancers, you've got to manage the expectation of your client as well, right? So be careful of clients pushing too much and just pull them back a little bit and say, look, I will get all this done. However, this is the timeline, and then you have to stick to that timeline, by the way. But do manage clients' expectations as well.
Great stuff. Well, look, guys, this has been really fantastic. We've really enjoyed sharing insights. We will be doing a raffle. I don't know how we're going to be doing this, Ray. How are we going to do the raffle?
Yeah, regarding the raffle, I think Sheena is right now listing all the participants that we have right now, and we will going to do it offline, and then we're going to post it on the group, and
Great.
probably will since probably a personal message, a DM for scheduling, and Sheena can coordinate with the schedules among the winners.
Awesome. That sounds great. So, yeah, so the raffle, guys, is going to be 5 people are going to spend some time with myself, not at one-on-one time. So I think we're doing 30 minutes one-on-one, where we're going to basically give you guys your personalized coaching, right? We're going to help coach you guys for whatever it may be, whatever that looks like for you guys. So the winners are going to be
It'll be announced.
They'll be announced on the group, and we'll let the guys at UpWork sort that out. Similarly, just my final points, guys. When we are going for video interviews or any interviews, remember, know your worth, know your value. You are an expert, and you need to be demonstrating that on these interviews. It's a two-way street. You know, it's not just about what the company wants, it's about what you want and what you can bring them as well, right? So really important that you have that confidence in yourself, and you have that belief when you go into these interviews, because you count. You are worth that role, right? That's my final piece. I'm going to hand over to Kevin for the final bits of this.
Thank you. As a way of a closing statement, I would just echo really what Antonio says. We're all human beings on the planet. The person interviewing you is a human being too. They've been in your position, okay? Just keep it nice, open, honest, and calm. My other closing bit will go back to Pretty and her son, who's trying to find his way. And Antonio's right, do your passion, but there is a fantastic way of doing that. There's a site called udemy.com. You can do lots of free courses in software development. You can do it in creative design. You can do it in, there's lots of free courses there, Pretty, if you want to send your son that way, so he can find that passion of his. And that is all from me. And Antonio, I will hand back to Ray to close down the session. And thank you ever so much for coming, guys.